education panel, I would like to request panelists to please come to the dais. I would like to call Mr. Ashish Tiwari, Director at ACE Institute of Management, to come to the dais. I would like to call Mr. Narottam Ariyal, Executive Director at King's College, to come to the dais. I would like to call Mr. Sudhir Kumar Jha, Principal at Chelsea International Academy, to please come to the dais. I would like to call Mr. Yuvraj Sharma, CEO at White House Education Nepal, to please come to the dais. Thank you, panelists. Now I would like to call our moderator for education panel, Mr. Pavitra Gautam, CEO of Karkhana, to come to the dais and take the charge of the floor. Thank you.
Audience can participate as well, but to begin with, let's have a small round of introduction from every of our panelists. Rather than me introducing them, which would be very boring because it's going to be very boring. So I'll start with them, and probably I'll start with myself as well. So, my name is Pavitra Gautam. Padaile engineer, postle CEO, kamle teacher. That's me. I have a lot of questions. I'm a very curious person by nature. त्यही भएर पनि सायद आज यो सिक्न छु जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई। अनि मैले आज यो एउटा इन्ट्रोडक्सनको कुरालाई चाहिँ अलिकति डिफरेन्ट बनाउन एउटा के रुल राख्न लाग्छु भनेदेखि सबैले आफ्नो सानो इन्ट्रोडक्सन दिइसकेपछि चाहिँ दे शुड प्रोबब्ली शेयर अ रिग्रेट अफ देयर लाइफ, right? Because I think most of you only see the glitters of success, but there are lots of regrets. Yes, and small glimpse of that would be really nice. One of my regrets in life is when I was in school, I really loved music. I really love music. I never tried that. I really loved it. I never tried it. As a somebody, I don't know how to play a guitar. I'll probably start it soon. That's one of my regrets from my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Pavitra. Hello, everyone. I'd like to thank Ashish Thakur for his entire effort to bring us here in this panel. My friends, Narottamji, Mr. panelists, students, faculty, and all enthusiasts. I'm Yuvraj Sharma. I run an institution that's called White House Graduate School of Management. It's been 15 years I've been endeavoring in education. I'm also involved in White House, other ventures in schooling, plus two and undergrad education. I'm from management background, though I did my schooling entire bachelor's in science. I moved to management education in my later stage. Probably I will not say I should regret on that. Initially, I wanted to become a medical doctor, and somehow that didn't work. Up to 1990, a long time back, I was selected as one of scholarship recipients in USSR that time in Russia. While I was doing my +2 in India, and I had to go. I went to USSR, and during that year, there was a new revolution of glasnost and perestroika from Mikhail Gorbachev, and I had to come back. And I had to come in 90, and then I decided to come to Kathmandu instead of hanging around in India. And I joined BSc, and later on I moved to management education. I don't regret of that change and my entire turnaround in my career, heading to become a doctor and coming back to education as an education entrepreneur. I don't regret, but that was the whole story that took me all the way from that end to education as of now. Thank you. I hope we'll talk more and discuss on the topic then. Thank you.
I'm Sudhir Jha. I run an institution called Chelsea International Academy, where we have got nearly 300 students of A-level studying, and we have got also a school right from nursery to class 12 called Vidyasanskar School. We'll be focusing especially on the topic, so I don't want to take much more time in introduction. I'm doing my PhD work in team leadership, and my methodology is regarding the regret, the same thing like you guys said. I wanted to be a doctor, medical doctor, and today I'm not regretting. I'm happy that I'm in this business, and I compare myself with my friends who are doctors, and I'm happy today in this business. And of course, I'll be doctor, but PhD doctor.
Thank you very much. Before I introduce myself, I should take this opportunity to thank King's College and Ashish and his team. I should make a very special comment about Ashish. I really appreciate the perseverance, with which he has been working in this event, and he's called me, I believe, because I was out, and then I couldn't respond to the calls. And he has been really persevering about pursuing this. So congratulations for making this event happen from the drawing board to the reality, and considering me to be worthy to come and join this wonderful panel. Talking about myself, I'm associated with ACE Institute of Management. I work there as the principal of ACE, and I also serve as one of the directors on the board of ACE Institute. Very recently, we also launched ACE International Business School, where I also serve as its one of the directors on the board. We have been running preschool, secondary and high school for the last 2 years, and we have about, not including the school from the +2, we run about, at the undergraduate level we have 2 programs, graduate level we have 3 programs, so I'll not talk much. But because I teach marketing, I specialize in marketing, I don't let a single opportunity to go to talk about the organization. But yes, so we have about, from +2 to the master's level, we have about 2,300 students enrolled across different programs. I have been associated with ACE right from its inception, from the beginning. That was in the year 1999, so it's been 17 years. And I would not say how old I am, because I would not want to disclose my age. And quite at times, people come and do tell me that are you involved with ACE for the last 17 years? And I say yes. And I say that, and people comment that you don't look that old. And I always keep on telling people that, look, because I spend most of my time with young people, so probably I'm never going to grow old. So, and I don't lose a single opportunity to come and talk to young people like you. I see lots of young people here. And talking about, I think that's more or less about myself. Now, talking about one of my regrets. One of my biggest regrets is like, I used to be the so-called a very good student, so one of the regrets is like, I was very interested in music, I am, and I regret that I did not learn how to play a musical instrument in school, because I was so obsessed with studying and getting great percentages, right? So if I had to live my life again, probably I would like to strike a balance, and also learn music and also study, and I would consider that even if I did not get the 90s and the A's, it really doesn't matter in life. So that is one of my regrets, But then what I have done is, it's been about 3 years. I have started how to, I'm learning how to play guitar actually. So, yes, and I can play quite a bit. Thanks.
Good morning, namaste. मेरो नाम नरेश मौर्य, म किङ्स कलेजसँगै एसोसिएटेड छु। धेरै अचिभमेन्ट्सहरू थिए छैन। मेरो रिग्रेट्सको कुरा गर्नुपर्दा मलाई सिकाइएको कुरा चाहिँ we should not regret, because whatever happened in the past, you don't have any control over, so you should forget about it. Whatever lesson you learned, that's fine, but then you should not regret. But then, because he asked us to reveal the regret, so I think एउटा regret चाहिँ हुन्छ, whenever we go to the parties, like people ask us to join for dancing, So त्यो डान्स अलिअलि म गाउँको मान्छे भएर फोक डान्स चाहिँ अलिअलि आउँछ बट देन लाइक फोक डान्स काठमाडौँ पार्टी छ भने खासै अनि त्यसपछि सबैले बिलाउन आउँछ त्यस्तो नाच्न थाल्यो भने त्यसपछि मोडर्न डान्स त्यति आउँदैन सो आई रियली रिग्रेट कि अनि राम्रो डान्स मोडर्न डान्स गऱ्यो भने इम्प्रेस गर्नु पनि सजिलो मान्छेहरूलाई सो आई थिङ्क आई रिग्रेट अन द्याट सो थ्याङ्क यू सो मच थ्याङ्क यू आशिष थ्याङ्क यू पवित्र एन्ड थ्याङ्क यू सो मच फर sirs like for attending this ceremony and thank you audience. I am really looking forward to having a good deliberation on education. Thank you so much.
As सरले त गिटार सिक्न सुरु गरिसक्नु भएको छ हैन. What I'm learning nowadays in my office is I'm learning to play a flute at least. म यति धेरै बजाउँछु कि माई कलिग्स हेभ लाइक हिट द्याट बाँसुरी क्या लुकाइदिइरहेको छ मान्छे मैले धेरै भयो 1-2 हप्ता भयो मलाई बाँसुरी फिर्ता दियो भनेर भनिरहेको एनिवेज द्याट्स डिफ्रेन्ट स्टोरी एजुकेसनको बारेमा कुरा गर्नु छ आज हामीलाई यहाँ होइन एजुकेसनको बारेमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि एकदम आफूले आफूलाई अनेस्टली एउटा कुरा गरौँ जब हामी घरमा आफ्नो फ्यामिलीसँग कुरा गरिरहेको हुन्छौँ एजुकेसनको बारेमा वेन वी आर टकिङ अबाउट एजुकेसन इन ब्याक इन आवर होम how many times we talk positively about education? Probably one of the first few words is Nepalko education khatam cha. Kehi bhako chaina yaha. Yaha ta kehi hunai sakdaina. Padhnu cha bhane bahir janu parcha hola. Look back 15 years. Look back 20 years. What kind of recent history we had? We had a very troubled time for 10 years. We had a very unstable political system, and this year was the worst from so many perspectives. Earthquake and economic border blockades and so on. Just look back in education, in perspective of education. Hamro education change bhako cha ki chaina ta? How our education used to be back in, let's say 15 वर्ष पछाडि कस्तो थियो एजुकेसन अब पुरै एजुकेसनको त अहिले कुरा नगरौँ बिजनेस स्कुलकै कुरा गर्दाखेरि पनि 15 वर्ष अगाडिको बिजनेस स्कुल्सहरू र अहिलेको बिजनेस स्कुल्सहरूमा डिफरेन्स छ कि छैन त आई थिङ्क whenever we are talking about something it's very important to talk about the positive sides as well सिनिकल हुन एकदम सजिलो छ तर त्यो कुरालाई छोडेर पोजिटिभ साइडलाई पनि बुझेर इम्प्रुभमेन्टहरूमा फोकस गर्न अलिकति गाह्रो छ सो आज हामी कुरा गर्दाखेरि सबैले चाहिँ के याद गरौँ भनेदेखि हामी यहाँ किन छौँ भनेदेखि एजुकेसनलाई पोजिटिभ साइडमा लानको लागि एज ए स्टुडेन्ट एज टिचर्स एज लिडर्स स्कुल प्रिन्सिपल्स कलेज प्रिन्सिपल्स हामी यहाँ आज किन छौँ भनेदेखि वी वान्ट टु इम्प्रुभ एजुकेसन तर आज हामी यहाँ राम्रो कुराको बारेमा कुरा गर्दैनौँ राम्रो कुरा त भइरहेको छ तर के को बारेमा कुरा गर्छौँ भनेदेखि इम्प्रुभ चाहिँ के गर्न सक्छौँ त र त्यो इम्प्रुभ गर्नुभन्दा अगाडि आई निड सम वर्ड्स फ्रम दि अडियन्स है त whenever I ask questions I just need words specific words so for audience this question is for audience what are the qualities you think entrepreneur should have or let's say if you are an entrepreneur what are the qualities you would seek in your employees can I have words proactive passionate can team player honesty
Adaptability.
Can I have that again
Adaptability.
adaptability sorry I'm so sorry adaptability
Creativity.
creativity
Positivity.
हजुर
Communication.
communication positivity
Agitation.
हजुर
Attitude.
dedication perseverance okay ownership feeling of ownership time management हजुर skills अलिकति broad भयो but I'll write it okay म एकैछिन रोकौँ है त यसलाई यो क्रमलाई nobody said degrees As employers, or as an entrepreneur, or as an aspiring entrepreneurs, we have proactive, passion, team player, honesty, feeling of ownership, adaptability, creativity, communication skills, feeling positivity, dedication, perseverance. Can't the education system. So my focus for the day is I'd like to ask questions. हाम्रो एजुकेसन सिस्टमले जुन भर्खरै हामीले यो एउटा सानो सर्वे गर्यौँ यो स्किल्सहरूलाई कसरी हेरिरहेको छ बिकज आई नो यो सबै कुरालाई एक्ज्याक्टली वर्ड नभए पनि देयर आर डिफ्रेन्ट वेज टु गेट टु दिस स्किल्स सो आई वुड लाइक टु आस्क क्वेसन टु आवर प्यानलिस्ट अबाउट दिस डिफ्रेन्ट स्किल्स एन्ड how your institution or how you as a person, as a leader, are thinking about these skills. Only this slide, let's try to keep it to maximum 4 to 5 sentences.
I think the queries that we got from the audience, they're all the ingredients of every school. Well, you earn an MBA or a BBA degree. These are the core areas and ingredients of any B school program. यसमा मैले नदेखेको चाहिँ अन्टरप्रेन्योरसिपमा हुने चाहिँ रिस्क टेकिङ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ यहाँ देखिएन त्यो चाहिँ जरुरी छ हामीले रिस्क टेकिङ स्टुडेन्ट्स ग्रेजुएटहरू निकाल्दैछौँ या इम्प्लोएबल ग्रेजुएट्सहरू मात्रै निकाल्दैछौँ अर्गनाइजेसनको लागि धेरै इन्टरभ्यूमा बिबिएको स्टुडेन्ट होस् एमबिएको स्टुडेन्ट्स इफ वी ask the question what you want to become after your 3-4 years of BBA or 2 years of MBA भन्दाखेरि I want to become CEO or a banker or I want to work in a big organization, I want to become top businessman. त्यस्तै मात्रै आउँछ एउटा स्मल मिडियम बिजनेस स्टार्टअपको कुरा सुरु गर्न म यो स्किल्स लिन आएको भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ हाम्रो स्टुडेन्टमा अझै पनि कम देखिन्छ सानो चिया पसल एउटा धावा एउटा सानो माइक्रो एउटा लेभलको बिजनेस गर्छु भन्ने त्यो एटिट्युड चाहिँ र त्यो रिस्क टेकिङ त्यो एउटा भित्रबाट त्यो ड्राइभिङ एटिट्युड चाहिँ अझै पनि हामीले पाइरहेको छ यहाँ लट अफ स्टुडेन्ट दे वान्ट टु बिकम ब्याङ्कर दे वान्ट टु बी somebody like अनिल शाह somebody like अरू कसैको नाम लिनुहुन्छ उहाँले सो त्यो चाहिँ अझै पनि त्यो एप्रोचलाई हामीले चेन्ज गर्नु छ अन्टरप्रेन्योरसिपमा
process properly. So what happens is learning takes a backseat and the focus is more on the end result, so that you get very good marks. So then what happens, you learn by rote, and because the current system actually rewards more knowledge and less of skills and behaviors and attitude. So most of the time the focus is on knowledge imparting. So the classroom, normally what happens is the students expect that, once I go to a classroom, there will be knowledge imparting. So somebody will come and give me loads of knowledge inside the classroom, right? And what is tested in the final examinations or in the evaluation process is how much of knowledge you can commit to memory and you can actually reproduce. This particular skill again had lots of relevance once upon a time. I'll take 2 more minutes. Had lots of relevance. When data portability was a problem, people used to write data, on tablets, stone tablets. And because it was not possible for people to carry stone tablets everywhere, so those people who can actually commit lots of data, lots of information to memory, they were the most knowledgeable people in the society. Right? They were the so-called, the most knowledgeable people, because I know so many of these scriptures by heart. And knowledge imparting was through shruti, like somebody would recite, somebody would listen, and this is how knowledge was imparted. Now think about today, right? What we are evaluating probably is not correct because time and context has changed. Can you imagine how much of data, if I want to carry with myself, how much of data can I carry? I'm wearing a 5-pocket coat and 2 pockets here. How much of data? Like 1 drive of 1 TB. So I can carry like what? 10 terabytes of data portable in my pockets. So then what happens, the skill which was very relevant yesterday, that you reward those people who can commit lots of things to memory and then who can actually grasp lots of information is a passive. No. So what happens is, classrooms have to change. And I know for sure that even in Nepal, in the next 5 years, 10 years, classrooms are going to completely change. Classrooms will no more be a place where only knowledge is imparted. Will classrooms still exist? Yes, they will. But the classrooms will exist because people will come to the classrooms not for the knowledge. Because knowledge will be available like everywhere. So me as a teacher, when I walk into a classroom, right, and if I just impart a knowledge which is already there, I'm not doing a great job. And that classroom does not make sense for the young people who are much more knowledgeable than I am in so many other areas. People come to the classroom to acquire that craft, not the knowledge. The craft, the tacit skills. Right? So, the approach has to change. Right? And knowledge has to be, business schools have to be focused more towards the process, not the end result. Right? And not rewarding. Our evaluation systems have to change, which doesn't reward only rote learning, but which rewards these different components. So we are talking about knowledge, we are talking about behavior, we are talking about skills, we are talking about the right attitude. And the change has to start right from early childhood education, It has to start right from the very beginning. So I think this is my 3 points on this.
I think sir pointed out that there are certain things business school can fix, but there are certain things that it's really hard to change when they're there for a short time, very little time. So, तर त्यो भन्दैमा चाहिँ म सरलाई त्यतिकै जान दिन्न कि, but that's still some time, right? Now, यदि त्यो टाइमलाई पनि अलि फोकस गरेर हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि there are certain questions that come to my mind. Teachers. There are always a lot of questions about quality of teachers. र त्यो भन्दा नि अझ पछाडी जाने भनेदेखि who is a good teacher? What kind of teacher is a good teacher? So I'd like to ask this question to Sudhir sir because he's involved with the whole set of education from very primary level to business school. So what is a good teacher?
Thank you. Now it's the tragedy of the country that if you have got good English, you go for journalism, you go for project, bank, and if you possess more than that, you go abroad. So we hardly find, a good teacher speaking good English in the classroom. And most of the time find, teachers coming from remote areas to Kathmandu and teaching English. So the main problem lies there. A-grade teachers can produce B-grade students. Think about the C-grade teachers. So, everything depends upon the person who delivers what to teach and how to teach. They don't know what to teach and they don't know how to teach. I'm just starting from, negative note. But I'm very much optimistic regarding the new generation. Only the hope of the country is the new generation. If we stay in Nepal. In school we find, well, before school, let's go to the childhood. A child speaks many times and learns to speak. A child tries a lot to go from downstairs to upstairs, Many times he is not able to do that. But 1,000 times he tries and he goes upstairs. Isn't it? A child doesn't speak a wrong thing. Our parents, of course, teach a child to say that, just tell your friend that, or tell my friend that I'm not here. So, everything is there in a child. We grow up, we forget that, we are polluted, and we bring wrong attitude. Whatever we are talking about, the skills and all those things, all these things compositely tell about the attitude. And attitude in a child is good, but an attitude with us is not good. So, I find that, age 13, 14, 15, after that, to reverse the attitude, it's really difficult. It's very difficult to be school to reverse the attitude. So it's, as Ashish sir has said, that it's the duty of school, pre-primary school, primary school, to develop a good attitude among the kids. So that way you can find, the podcast nowadays, behavior, attitude, yes, headings like that, yes, communication skill, yes, nowadays it's developed. Whether the student has, has got A or B or C, so they are trying to do their best, but it's not enough, I think, at present. I went to British school, and I found one difference from other Nepalese school, that most of the students were outside the classroom. I found the campus very simple, but the teaching method, other students were placed in the field and they are taught. I found quite different there. I think the major problem is misteaching in our school days, especially.
Again, I'd like to ask now to Narottam sir. Sorry, Pale Ponu Bhai जस्तो लाग्यो. Palo दिनुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्यो. I see King's College being involved in lots of extracurricular activities. अब traditional wayबाट सोच्ने हो भनेदेखि people find it really hard, schools find it really hard to change the system, because when you try to change the traditional system of approach to education to a modern way of teaching, there's lots of resistance. The resistance is from students, teachers, parents, there is होइन. What has been your biggest challenge and how you have overcome that in converting or trying to convert the approach to education?
Thank you, Paul. It's a really difficult question. No, so it's a challenging question. So thank you so much. Before going directly into that question, I think agreeing to what students are saying, that our school system has to change first, then only we can change. Of course, that's true. But then let me blame myself and ourselves. Last week only I was discussing with a very senior professor from India, and we were discussing about the education system of India and Nepal. And I said India has already created a huge mark in the education system, congratulations. And he said, in reply, no, our higher education system has of course done so much and really created a mark within our school system is not different from what you have in Nepal. So from that I can infer at least that it's not necessary that school education has to change first, then only we can do so much in our higher education. Maybe yes, that's partially true, but then that case, like India's case, as per him, I don't know the actual situation, but that proves that like we can also make a difference like without really like expecting our school education system to change. Of course, we have only so much to change, right? Yes, of course, we are facing a lot of challenges, as you sort of also said that when both ecosystem demands one thing and you're trying to give another thing, it's kind of like again the marketing. I support him in marketing, like your product or your marketing strategy or whatsoever depends on the kind of like consumers you're serving, kind of society you're operating in, and kind of support you have, and kind of expectations your society has. So I think like we are also facing the same kind of challenges, and it should not be overemphasized on the fact that business education, especially BBA and MBA, are professional educations which should focus on, of course, like skills. For that matter, I think like we always compare it to swimming. So unless and until you put, you sort of like throw the person into the swimming pool, he or she will never learn like a swimming. No matter how smart he or she is in terms of like theories of swimming, unless and until that person swims, doesn't learn. So the same theory applies to business as well, because it cannot be learned without doing. So that's why I think we focus so much on like doing things, and we believe that business can be learned by doing, and this should be activity-based learning. So we're trying to do that but then again, when you don't have good maths, students like have a problem, the parents have a problem, and our like industry also has a problem. I was talking with a group of like HR managers of like commercial banks like last, I think like some 2 months back. If you can, if you see their advertisement, like their minimum requirement is 3.5 and above. And on the other hand, they blame the schools focusing only on grades. And I said like you are requiring the grades, and how can I change like the system? If you can't change yourself, how can how can you expect us to change? Because they are the consumers, right, of our products. So that's why I think like again the challenges are we are still like focusing on the knowledge, grades and examinations, and so to take the students to do the thing is really like difficult, and of course like parents are not very supportive of that, because if you ask the students to do the things and not like you're not teaching so much, and your classroom, our class hours are limited, then parents have a problem. They're college of another class and paisa चाहिँ त्यत्रो लिन्छ right? And students like अहिलेसम्म के छ भने पढाइ भनेको क्लासरुममा जे गर्यो that's पढाइ. Besides that, like they don't like focus on learning. So I think these are the challenges. So the challenge is more or less on the mindset itself. So changing the mindset is really difficult. But then again, let me like reiterate the fact. The first sentence that सबभन्दा बढी blame चाहिँ हामीलाई नै गर्नु पर्ला जस्तो टिचर्सको कुरा छ. हामी टिचर्स कति प्यासनेट टिचर्स छौँ, हामी एजुकेसनिस्टहरू कति प्यासनेट एजुकेसनिस्ट हौँ भनेर आफूले पनि आफैलाई रिफ्लेक्ट गर्नुपर्ने होला. हामीले के को लागि एजुकेसनमा इन्भल्भ भएको छौँ? Are we really there to change the education system and impart the good quality education system, or we have something else like हाम्रो vested interest अरू नै छ कि त्यो छ भन्ने कुरामा पनि सायद हामीले रिफ्लेक्ट गर्नुपर्ने सिरियस रिफ्लेक्सन गर्नुपर्ने बेला छ होला. थ्याङ्क यू सो मच.
Thank you, sir. एउटा कुरा सोचिरहेको थिएँ म, सबैजना सरहरूले चाहिँ इन अ वे नर्तम सरले त अलिकति ब्लेम लिनुभयो होइन, कि चेन्ज गर्न सकिन्छ होला त्यो लेभलमा पनि, तर नसकिए पनि वी सुड प्रोबब्ली ट्राई टु चेन्ज. एन्ड बट आई थिङ्क देयर वाज अ consensus from the panel that if we get good input, we'll probably get good output. So this is an option. So any of you can raise your hand or like agree to answer this question from all of the panelists. This is my last question to the panelists. After this, I'll ask question to the audience. Okay, I agree. If you get good input, you'll get good output. त्यसो भए के गर्ने त अथवा के गर्नु भएको छ त to improve that input? because it has actually affected the quality of your output. So one of the ways to improve that is to improve the quality of input. So what have you done, or what you would do in future, but what are you planning to do in future to refine that input, to improve that input? Who wants to answer that? Okay, Sudhir sir.
Okay, I think Gautam sir is doing wonderful. Their bookings college is like this. Everything is with S college, Ashish sir. Remind what college, Yudas sir. And same thing is with me. I'm also doing very well. But the thing is that this is an ecosystem. This is an ecosystem. We can do something to some extent, but we can't change the thing upside down. Because most of our workers, they are found in line to have gases and petrol and dowda and all those things. Yeah? Teachers, they are coming from 10 kilometers walking or on the roof of the bus. So I think the system of any education institution doesn't exist on its own. It's associated with many things. Yeah. To my office, anyone can come at any time and engage me for 4 hours, asking money. Yeah. You go to India, you can't enter even to the gate. Yes. You'll have to take appointment 4 months earlier. That is the difference. So the whole system is totally centered towards education, quality of education. Here we are too much disturbed by different things. Yes, even the Prime Minister called for the job. Yeah. So I think we are not totally focused in our duties and responsibilities because of many hurdles around us.
Quickly, just 2 or 3 sentences. The question was very specifically like, what have you done to improve this, the gaps and what we're talking about, the input. A few things, one which we have always tried to make learning as relevant to real life as possible. Have we went to a state where where we have made learning as relevant to real life as we would have loved to? I take the blame, no. Right, because there are lots of realities, we said that the entire ecosystem is aligned towards the expect good grades, So learning normally what happens, classroom becomes classroom teaching, learning takes a backseat, isn't it? So what we have done, at least over the years, we have been trying to tell people that, look, knowledge has to be relevant to real life, because tomorrow you have to go out. And, I remember I scored very good marks in social studies in my SLC, but all my life, I would love to tell people. But all my life, nobody has ever asked, how much did you get in social studies in your SLC? Nobody. Believe me. Right. So what is very important is, of course, it gives lots of pleasure, But then, after a certain point of time, your real scorecard is how you actually perform in real life. Right. So degree has to be taken percentages, and the marks has to be taken only as an end result of the learning process. And we have been I tell every time I meet loads of young people, I tell them that, look, the first focus has to be on learning, not on the outcome, which is the percentage of the marks. Number one, learning has to be as relevant as possible to real life. And we keep on saying that knowledge is beneficial only when it is accompanied with wisdom and humility. The more knowledgeable we become, the more humble we become. And knowledge has no meaning unless it comes with the wisdom to be able to apply it into whatever we are doing. Swimming, the same thing. I may read 1,000 books about swimming, but if I really do not know how to swim or to drive a car, it's of no use. Right? So that's number 2. Another thing, and another message which I would want to give people is, don't actually focus on grades, and percentages might just kill your learning actually. Right? And Another thing, the other day, just a simple incident which happened a few days back. I was offering a course with the executive program, and somebody asked me, "Can you tell me a little about the question pattern?" I said, "What the question pattern? I mean, life itself doesn't have a pattern. What pattern do you expect in a question paper?" But we are so aligned towards thinking that, and then a very simple question like, it is out of syllabus. Life doesn't have a syllabus, you see. Tomorrow you're going to work in real life, and I mean, have you ever come across anybody who says that I'll give you the entire syllabus of life, and you study this and you are through with your life? I mean, it doesn't happen. So what syllabus? But the alignment, the ecosystem, because of there's too much of alignment towards studying grades and the society towards. So what happens is learning somewhat is there on the backseat, and so people ask, I would study only. So classroom delivery is more concentrated towards syllabus complete course, isn't it? Our syllabus complete students are also more aligned towards the syllabus coordinate so that you get good marks, isn't it? So this thing we have to overcome this whole thing of that life doesn't have a syllabus. I mean, that is very, and that critical thinking. I mean, a good knowledgeable mind should be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Ability to ask right questions, very, very important. Independent thinking, very important. Right. So these are some of the things which we have been doing over the past so many years. At least telling people that develop your thinking faculty, start asking questions. Right, having a questioning spirit is very, very important. Start acquiring the wisdom, not only knowledge. Become wise. Right, don't just become knowledgeable. And when you acquire learning, always try to ask this question: how can I apply it into whatever I'm doing for benefit of me and for benefit of the other people around me? Otherwise, it always becomes like when I went to study calculus for the first time in class 11, and they taught me derivatives. I always used to wonder as a 16-year-old at that particular point of time, where on earth would I ever apply such abstract concept? It was only when I went to my economics classes in the undergrad, I understood that, oh my God, it has amazing applications. It's only I was unaware. So asking that right questions and becoming aware, how can I use this acquired knowledge in real life is very, very important. And for students, I mean, it's as learners, all of us, we are learners, all what matters is how open we are to learning from new experiences and then taking that knowledge into real life and applying it. I think I've taken long.
I would not allow. I think this whole panel discussion was the objective of this panel discussion was to engage with the audience. I'll give you the chance. I'd like to take a few questions. Tara, think before you ask a question. Because I might ask you the question itself. Right? So think before you actually ask a question. I want to give you some time to think the question through. Tara, मेरो एउटा सानो मलाई पनि फेरि एउटा question आइरहेको थियो. I would like to ask. I have this opportunity to ask all the time. Yuvraj sir, I am aware that you are trying to start a school. What is the objective of starting a school, or is it anyhow related to your experience in business school? And this time is also to think about the questions that you might ask.
Now, education policy is going to be changed. The Parliament is working with a new education policy. To run a +2, you have to have a school. Now, the school system will be offered from schooling up to grade 12. So the whole education system is going to be changed in a couple of months' time. So there's the prerequisite. So to sustain and run a +2 now, we're going downwards to high school. Our high school, just another high school, मात्रै त पक्कै पनि हामीले सोच्दैनौँ होला. Last 16 years I've been into education. सुधीर सर चेल्सीमा धेरै काम गरिसक्नु भएको छ. स्कुलको एजुकेसनमा उहाँहरूले राम्रो काम गर्नुभएको छ. र स्कुलको जुन अघि कुरा आयो इनपुटको कुरा छ, हामी अहिले नयाँ एजुकेसन पोलिसीमा जान खोजिरहेका छौँ. We implemented SSRP, School Sector Reform Program 2009-15. त्यसले खासै केही नयाँ कुरा ल्याउन सकेन स्कुलको शिक्षामा. Now, Ministry of Education is planning to bring another policy, SSDP, स्कुल सेक्टर डेभलपमेन्ट प्रोग्राम जो चाहिँ अहिले 2016 जुलाईदेखि 2022सम्म लागु हुँदैछ। वर्ल्ड ब्याङ्कदेखि लिएर धेरै ठुल्ठुलो डोनर्सहरूले $10 बिलियन को चाहिँ फन्डिङ गर्दैछ। त्यसले के ल्याउन खोजिरहेछ त्यो डिबेटको कुरा छ। र स्कुल एडुकेसन जहाँसम्म हामी अहिले छौँ 12सम्मको पढाइ नेपालको होस् इन्डियाको 60 कन्ट्रीतिरको हामी कम्पिटेटिभ छौँ भन्छौँ। हाम्रो इभ्यालुएसन सिस्टम करिकुला अनि स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूले नलेजलाई जसरी चाहिँ प्रायोरिटी दिएर पढ्छन्, क्लास 10 पछि साइन्स म्यानेजमेन्ट ह्युम्यानिटिज ब्रान्चमा जान्छन्। त्यो ग्रेड 12 पास आउट स्टुडेन्ट्सलाई हामीले हेरौँ, यहाँको स्टुडेन्टलाई अन्डर ग्रेडमा वर्ल्डको कुनै पनि युनिभर्सिटीमा पठाउँ, मलाई लाग्छ हाम्रो स्टुडेन्टहरू त्यतिकै कम्पिटेटिभ छ। अब जुन एडुकेसन सिस्टम अहिले वेयर टकिङ अबाउट न्यू एडुकेसन सिस्टम SSDP, त्यसले के गर्न खोजिरहेछ भने क्लास 10 लाई पास फेल भए पनि सबैलाई पास गराउन खोजिरहेको छ। लेटर ग्रेडिङमा लगिरहेछौँ। अल द स्टुडेन्ट्स ग्रेड 11 ग्रेड 10 दे विल मुभ टु ग्रेड 11 विदाउट इफ दे फेल और पास दे आर अलाउड टु जोइन ग्रेड 11। त्यहाँ हामी एउटा ठुलो रिस्क लिइरहेका छौँ। सबै स्टुडेन्टलाई पास गराउँदैछौँ 5-5.5 लाख विद्यार्थीहरू। र ग्रेड 12 मा गएर राष्ट्रिय परीक्षा बोर्ड भन्ने अहिले बोर्ड गठन हुँदैछ, जुन अहिले हायर सेकेन्डरी एडुकेसन बोर्ड इभेन्चुली गोइङ टु बी कन्भर्टेड टु नेसनल एडुकेसन बोर्ड। त्यो नेसनल एडुकेसन बोर्डले चाहिँ त्यो सबै स्टुडेन्टलाई 12 मा गएर इक्जाम लिन्छ। क्लास 10 को इक्जामलाई विक गरिँदैछ, 11 मा इक्जाम नै हुँदैन। जस्ट थिङ्क अबाउट इट। अब भर्खर 16-17 वर्षको बच्चाले 11 मा जाँचै दिनु पर्दैन, पासै गर्नु पर्दैन SLC, र 12 मा गएर एकचोटि बोर्ड इक्जाम हुन्छ। त्यसमा पनि साइन्सका विषयहरू छन्, अरू सब्जेक्टहरू छ जसको लागि चाहिँ रेगुलर एसेसमेन्ट, कन्टिन्युअस इभ्यालुएसन र एउटा इक्जामको प्याराडाइमबाट जानै पर्छ। त्यसलाई हामी ब्रेक गर्न खोजिरहेका छौँ। सो अब आउने एडुकेसन पोलिसी चाहिँ निकै च्यालेन्जेस छ र त्यसले डिजास्टर पनि ल्याउन सक्छ हाम्रो स्कुल एडुकेसन एन्टायर स्कुल प्याटर्नलाई। त्यो पार्टमा पनि हामी अब एउटा सिरियसली हामी एउटा अर्गनाइजेसनहरूबाट पनि बोलेकै छौँ, त्यो एडभोकेसी भइरहेछ। तर म आफै जुन स्कुलको कुरा पवित्रजीले थाहा पाउनु भएको छ, हामीले सामान्य एउटा स्कुल नभएर एउटा अबको च्यालेन्जेस के छ त्यसलाई हामीले जोड दिँदैछौँ। कटिङ एज अहिलेको वर्ल्डमा अहिले एलन सुलादरजी यहाँ आउनुभएको छ, माइक्रोसफ्ट इनोभेसनको उहाँ धेरै काम गर्नुभएको छ आइटीमा। हामीले आइटी बेस्ड लर्निङ एप्रोचमा जान खोजिरहेको छौँ। बच्चाले स्कुलमा आएदेखि क्लास 1 को बच्चाले कसरी टेक्नोलोजीलाई युज गर्न सक्छ, अनलाइन लर्निङका कुराहरू छन्, असाइनमेन्टहरू अनलाइन गर्ने कुराहरू छन्। र त्यो एउटा टेक्नोलोजीलाई नै हामीले तलदेखि नै गऱ्यौँ भने लर्निङ विल बी मोर फन एन्ड इट विल बी मोर इन्जोयबल। र क्लासले मात्रै उनीहरूलाई बाउन्ड गर्दैन, क्लासरुमले मात्रै हुँदैन, उनीहरू घरमा पनि सिक्न सक्छन्, कुनै बाहिर बसेर पनि उनीहरूले सिक्न सक्छन्। टेक्नोलोजीलाई हामीले स्कुलदेखि नै लिएर जानुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ। त्यो भयो भने पक्कै पनि वर्ल्डमा भएका जति पनि नलेज छ, जति रिसोर्सेस छ, हाम्रो नेपालमा बसेर पनि त्यति नै लर्न गर्न सकिन्छ। आफ्नो फेलियरलाई लुकाउनलाई यो शिक्षा मन्त्रालय नै अहिले SLC मन्त्रालय जस्तो भएर जुन चाहिँ एउटा होल एडुकेसन सिस्टम चाहिँ SLCसम्म केन्द्रित गरिरहेको छ। हायर एडुकेसन चाहिँ शिक्षा मन्त्रालयले सोचेको पनि छैन र त्यसैलाई त्यो ब्लेम गेमलाई चाहिँ अब 12सम्म धकेलेर यो शिक्षा मन्त्रालय पन्छिन खोजिरहेको छ। ती कुराको च्यालेन्ज अहिले प्राइभेट सेक्टरले गरिरहेको छ। गभर्मेन्ट स्कुलहरूमा त्यो प्रब्लम बढिरहेको छ। रिजल्ट्समा 28-29% स्टुडेन्ट पास हुन्छ, त्यो पनि ड्रप आउटको रेसियो अलमोस्ट 35% भन्दा बढी छ। क्लास 1 मा आज स्टुडेन्ट एडमिसन भएको बच्चा 10 वर्षपछि 2026 मा SLC दिँदाखेरि जम्मा चाहिँ 35% मात्रै SLC मा पुग्छ। 65% स्टुडेन्ट ड्रप आउट भइरहेको छ। त्यो फेलरलाई बचाउनलाई पास गराउने मेकानिजम र डोनर्सको पैसाले एडुकेसन मन्त्रालयले एडुकेसन सिस्टममा नयाँ कुराहरू ल्याउन खोजिरहेको छ। त्यो ट्रेन्डहरूलाई पनि प्राइभेट सेक्टरले च्यालेन्ज गरिरहेको अवस्थामा त्यसलाई पनि अब हामीले एडभोकेसी गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। त्यसमा पनि हामी एडुकेसन चेन्ज गर्नलाई स्कुल सिस्टममा हामी जान चाहिरहेको छ।
Thank you, sir. Let's go for questions. Okay. If you want to be specific with the panelists as well, you can do that, or you can just generally ask the question.
I guess I am specific to all the panels.
One of the panelists.
To all the panels.
To all the panels. Okay.
Since they are from the education institution in Nepal, I guess today's panel focused on skill based rather than grading system. As some of them said, grading system should not be like the judgment for the students. See, when I look at the brochure of them, or when I go to the counseling for them, they offer scholarship to those students who have secured high marks. And now talking about the skills. So schools itself encourages students to secure high marks rather than their involvement and skill-based activities. In the same way, schools and colleges awarded or give the scholarship to those students who top the colleges or the universities. So they rarely award scholarship to those students who have higher skills or who have engaged or established themselves. Maybe I may not got such chance to scholarship of being engaged since my student's life of 16 years. Unfortunately, whether I have not been in that schools or there is not any such institution who provides scholarship to those students who are skillful rather than grateful. Thank you.
Let's get a few questions. I'm noting the questions, and I think everyone understands the question. Alikati questions on then we'll go towards answer. Another question? Okay.
All of us are saying grades are not important, but as Sir says, business house still asks for grade. And it's just because of ecosystem we are having, or is there something else? Can we hope it will change? And as a student, should I focus for grades or I should focus for attitude and skills? Thank you.
So what should I focus on when you have a question? Okay, we have another question.
यो एजुकेसनको कुरा गर्दा भर्खरै एउटा डाटा पनि भन्नुभयो मलाई चाहिँ के कुरा भन्नु मन लाग्यो कक्षा 1 मा 100 जना विद्यार्थी भर्ना हुन्छन् भने कक्षा 10 मा चाहिँ 70 जना पुग्दा रहेछन् त्यो 70 जना मध्ये 35 जना नर्मली भनेको 70 जना चाहिँ ड्रप आउट हुँदा रहेछन् 35 जना 30-35 जना चाहिँ कक्षा 10 मा पुग्दा रहेछन् त्यसको पनि पास पर्सेन्ट भनेको 40-45 त्यो मैले के चाहिँ भन्न खोजिरहेको छु भने हामी यो अहिले जुन आइरहेको छौँ हामी भनेको त्यही 30-40 45-50 भित्रको हौँ हामीले होल एजुकेसन सिस्टमलाई सुधार्ने कुरा गरिरहेको छौँ अथवा चाहिँ अहिले 30-35 को कुरा गरिरहेको छु म अलिकति त्यसमा चाहिँ कन्फ्युज भएँ अब अगाडिको त्यो मैले चाहिँ 70 को कुरा गर्न खोजिरहेको छु भनेको यसो एकचोटि विचार गरौँ 70 जनाले चाहिँ ड्रप आउटै भइसक्यो भनेको 10 मै पुग्न सकेनन् एसएससी पास गर्नै सकेनन् भने अरु स्किल सारा कुरा गरेर चाहिँ के नै त्यो नेपालको एजुकेसन सिस्टममै चेन्ज भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ त्यति रिलायबल नहोला भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ
थ्यांक यू
मेरो क्वेशन सबै प्यानलहरुलाई छ सबै एजुकेसन सम्बन्धी सीईओहरु प्रिन्सिपलहरु रहेछन् सबै काठमाडौँमा स्कुल खोलेर बसेर रहेछन् रुरल भिलेजहरुको लागि के प्रोग्रामहरु छ तपाईहरुको के रुरल भिलेजहरुको डिस्ट्रिक्टहरुले 10 सम्म पनि नपढेर खाडी मुलुकतिरै जाने हो कि सबै रुरलतिरै बस्ने नेपालीहरु 80% बढी सबै तिनीहरु के खाडी मुलुकतिरै काम गर्न लेबरमै जानुपर्ने हो कि तपाईहरु के सोचिरहनु भएको छ
Is there? I'll probably take one last question. Pachadi.
I have a question for all of you. Why can't education system provide us with experience? Why can't education system provide us with experience?
Experiences?
Yes.
Okay, अहिलेसम्मको क्वेसन्सहरुलाई अलिकति समराइज गर्नु पर्दाखेरि देयर क्वेसन्स लाइक हामीले अब सरहरुले नै आफ्नो साइडबाट ग्रेड्सलाई हैन कि स्किल्सलाई फोकस गर्नुपर्छ भनिरहनु भएको अवस्थामा अवार्डिङ सिस्टम अथवा हुन्छ नि स्कुल कलेज भित्रको अवार्डिङ सिस्टमले चाहिँ अझै पनि ग्रेडलाई नै प्रायोरिटाइज गरिरहेको जस्तो देखियो भन्ने क्वेसन्सहरु छ देन आर सर्टेन क्वेसन्स अब एज अ स्टुडेन्ट हामीले यो अवस्थामा यो ट्रान्जिसन टाइममा लेट्स से दिस इज अ ट्रान्जिसनल टाइम शुड वी फोकस अन ग्रेड्स अर शुड वी फोकस अन एटिट्युड अर स्किल्स द्याट्स अनदर क्वेसन अर्को कुरा उहाँले सोध्नु भएको र त्यो हामीले डेटाबाटै ट्र्याक गरेको कुरा चाहिँ what are we going to do about 70%? किनकि हामी एजुकेसनमा बसेर एजुकेसन सिस्टममा काम गरेर हामीले 35% जसले एसएलसी दिए त्यसको पनि 45% जतिलाई मात्र इन्जिनियरिङ गर्छौँ भनेर पुग्छ या पुग्दैन त अथवा बाँकी 70-80% जतिलाई हामीले के गर्न सक्छौँ द्याट वाज अन द क्वेसन र लास्टमा एक्सपिरियन्सको थ्रुबाट बढाउन सकिन्छ कि सकिँदैन होला त you can decide for yourself maybe awarding system को कुरा कसैले गरिदिनु भयो हुन्छ होला awarding system and skill र attitude को कुरा sure
सबैभन्दा मलाई मन परेको क्वेसन नै त्यही थियो ग्रेड्स भन्ने अनि त्यसपछि ग्रेड्स काम लाग्दैन भन्ने अनि तपाईँहरूले स्कलरसिप र सेलेक्सन प्रोसेस नै ग्रेडमा आधारित भन्ने त्यो कुराको साँच्चै म पनि एकदमै विरोधी हो त्यही भएर कम्तीमा हामीले चाहिँ के गर्यौँ भनेदेखि यो हामी सबै अरूलाई भन्ने अनि त्यसपछि आफू चाहिँ त्यही स्क्रिनिङ गर्दा पनि त्यही रिटन टेस्टबाट मात्रै स्क्रिनिङ गर्ने अथवा पास्ट एकाडेमिक पर्फर्मेन्सबाट मात्रै अवार्ड गर्ने यो चाहिँ अलिक क्राइमै होला भनेर के गरेका छौँ भने हामीले 25% इचलाई छुटाएर एउटा चाहिँ पास्ट एकाडेमिक पर्फर्मेन्स अफकोर्स त्यो पनि काउन्ट चाहिँ गर्छ त्यो केही पनि होइन भने कसैले पनि होइन द्याट्स इम्पोर्टेन्ट बट देन द्याट्स नट एभ्रिथिङ भन्ने भने हो त्यसपछि पास्टमा उसले कस्तो एक्सपिरियन्सेसहरू कस्तो एक्टिभिटिजमा इन्भल्भ भएको छ कम्युनिटी वर्क्स होला इभेन्ट्सहरू अर्गनाइज गरेर पार्टिसिपेट गरेर होला त्यसमा 25% हुन्छ अर्को 25% चाहिँ त्यो आफ्नो रिटन टेस्ट किनभने म्याथ्स इङ्ग्लिस र अरू रिक्वायर्ड स्किल्स बेस्ड आई मिन नलेज बेस्ड अथवा स्किल्स बेस्ड छ कि छैन सो द्याट भोलि प्रोग्राम गर्नु सक्छ कि सक्दैन भनेर छ त्यसको 25% वेटेज छ र अर्को 25% चाहिँ उसको इन्टरभ्यूमा हुन्छ सो इन्टरभ्यूमा चाहिँ हामी के बेसिकली उसको त्यही एटिट्युड लर्निङ एटिट्युड कस्तो छ ब्याकग्राउन्ड कस्तोबाट आएको छ उसको फ्युचरको भिजन्सहरू कस्तो छ भन्ने कुराहरू हेर्छौँ त्यस कारण वी हेभ डिस्ट्रिब्युटेड लाइक 100 मार्क्समा यो 4वटा एस्पेक्ट्समा मलाई लाग्छ त्यसमा चाहिँ जस्टिसै गरेका छौँ जस्तो लाग्छ दोस्रो साह्रै इम्पोर्टेन्ट कुरा चाहिँ के हो भने हामीले ग्रेड चाहिँ झुल होइन कि असेसमेन्ट सिस्टम के भनेर हेर्नु पऱ्यो लास्टमा ग्रेडमा कन्भर्ट गरेर केही फरक परेन बट देन वाट डु यु वान्ट टु मेजर अफकोर्स द्याट ग्रेड इज द आउटकम अफ युर मेजरमेन्ट प्रोसेस सो आर यु इन्कर्पोरेटिङ अल दिस लाइक स्किल्स ओर एटिट्युड वाट एभर यु आर सेयिङ in your assessment system or not at the end of the day त्यो सबैलाई मिसाएर ग्रेडमा कन्भर्ट गरेर त्यसलाई अवार्ड गर्यो भने त द्याट्स नट ब्याड आई थिङ्क लाइक द्याट्स द थिङ द्याट वी आर ट्राइङ टु प्रमोट राइट सो हामीले इन्टरनल प्रमोट अनि त्यसपछि आइसके पछाडि स्टुडेन्ट्सलाई स्कलरसिप दिनुलाई चाहिँ वी फिल द्याट वी हेभ ट्राई टु एन्कम्पास अल दिस एस्पेक्ट्स अफ लर्निङ एन्ड जसले राम्रो गर्छ त्यसमा त्यसलाई नै स्कलरसिप दिन्छौँ सो आई थिङ्क द्याट्स अ भेरी भेरी पर्टिनेन्ट क्वेसन थ्याङ्क यू सो मच फर द क्वेसन थ्याङ्क यू
The second set of question was हाम्रो scope, हाम्रो discussion को scope के हो? Are we accountable for the rest of the percentage or not? भन्ने कुरा maybe Ashish sir want to try this?
I think the question was whether we should focus on grades or whether we should focus more on skills. I think if I got the question, if I remember the question correctly.
There was also question about scope of discussion. Like, are we anyhow accountable for the rest of the percentage or not? किनकि as the questioner said that हामी यहाँ रुममा भएको त धेरैजना चाहिँ त्यो 35% पनि फिल्टर भएको त्यसपछि पास पनि एसएलसी भएको are there. So there are rest of the population.
So that part I will give it to you, I'm smartly trying to avoid the question, the most difficult question. I pass it to him. My personal advice about what should be the focus, whether we should focus on grades or whether we should focus on skills. It's not an isolated one thing. The only thing which grades reflect is it shows how hardworking a person is, whatever is the criteria for evaluation. What you have to do is you cannot completely isolate yourself from the environment. So my advice is you find out what does the environment expect. So you got to have a bare minimum decent grade, which is expected if you want to apply for a PhD. Find out what does the schools normally expect. If you want to start a career in the back, find out what does the industry expect. So find out what is the expectation of the environment in terms of grades. And after that, it really doesn't matter, right? So get that bare minimum, and after that, what you have to do is you have to strike a balance. Find out which areas you are naturally good. Those areas which you are naturally good, you should try and get an A. Those areas which are not good, forget it. I mean, I may be very good in quantitative subjects. So I can say that, okay, fine, I will try and get an A in quantitative subjects. I'm not naturally good in some of the other subjects. I would just try and say that, I get along with a B or something, so that I maintain that balance. I get that bare minimum which is expected by the industry, and I don't worry much. One thing which we have to do is, like, if as a student is, see, it's not necessary that everybody has to get a 4 on 4 or 90% or 95%. The idea is, when we are looking at, we see that when I'm trying to get an A, the A comes at what cost? In trying to get an A, am I foregoing opportunities to develop a certain skill? Am I foregoing certain opportunities to develop some kind of networks? So you need to know that, and you need to strike that balance. And striking that balance is very important. So one is awareness of the environment, find out what is the bare minimum which is expected, get that. Beyond that, don't worry, because I do not see there's much of a difference in, as a managerial competence, much of a difference between somebody ending up with an A and somebody ending up with an A minus. So I think my advice on this is a very personal advice. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much.
Basically, हामीले जुन एजुकेसन प्याटर्नमा कुरा गरिरहेका छौँ, हामी सबैलाई बिए एमए अथवा डाक्टर इन्जिनियर पढाउन खोजेको अवस्थाको अहिलेको शिक्षाको जब सबैले त्यो लेभलमै सोचेर पढ्ने भएको हुनाले चाहिँ एसएलसी सबैलाई एउटा चाहिँ फलामे ढुङ्गा फलामे गेट भन्ने हिसाबले डर देखाइयो त्यसलाई। यो चाहिँ आइडोन्ट गेट हो, त्यहाँ पास गर्ने गाह्रो छ। अनि त्यसपछिको हायर एजुकेसनको च्यालेन्जेसमा त्यति धेरै विद्यार्थीहरू थाहा पाउँदैन। एसएलसीलाई नि ठुलो इक्जाम्सको रूपमा लियो, त्यसलाई इज आउट गर्नलाई मिनिस्ट्रीले गभर्मेन्टले पनि अहिले त्यो क्लास 12सम्मको ब्राकेट क्रिएट गर्दैछ, 12सम्म चाहिँ जान सक्छ, कहीँ पनि रोकिँदैन बच्चाहरू। र अब त्यो गर्दाखेरि 12 पछि पनि त्यो फेलर्सहरू हुन्छ। हाम्रो होल एजुकेसन सिस्टमले स्टुडेन्टलाई अट्र्याक्ट गर्न सकेन, त्यो एउटा फियर फ्याक्टर भयो। एक्जामिनेसन पढ्नै पर्ने, पास नहुँदाखेरिका अरू सोसाइटल एस्पेक्टहरू, अरू डिमेरिट्सहरू छन् बच्चाहरूमा, सुइसाइडदेखि लिएर डिप्रेसनदेखि लिएर। त्यो घटाउनलाई एसएलसीलाई सहज बनाउने किसिमले त गइयो, तर त्यसरी सोल्युसन पक्याउने आउँदैन। हायर एजुकेसनमा त्यसको च्यालेन्जेस झन् बढेर जान्छ। क्लास 10 मा जति स्टुडेन्ट्सहरू आउँछ उनीहरूलाई 35% स्टुडेन्ट चाहिँ एसएलसीसम्म पुगेका छन्, 65 स्टुडेन्ट तलै छन्, फेल भएका छन्, छोडेका छन्, पढ्न सकेका छैनन्। उनीहरूलाई भोकेसनल टेक्निकल एजुकेसनमा लिएर जाने चाहिँ प्रायोरिटी हुनुपर्छ। हामीलाई त्यो मेन पावरको जरुरी छ।